Good morning. Welcome to Wood Street Assembly of God Devotional Time. I'm Pastor Cass Ledbetter. I am so glad that you've joined us today. It is good to have you with us. Just a real quick announcement. As of right now, our sanctuary is open, service at 10 a.m. It will be on Facebook Live for the service, and then an edited version just a little later, a couple days later, maybe on YouTube. So you are welcome to join us if you are watching today. I would love to know where you're watching from. Would you type in the comments on there in the comment section of the Facebook Live under this? If you would put in the city and state that you are watching, I would love to know where you're watching from. So thank you for joining us today. I want to take a thought this morning from 2 Corinthians chapter number 10. 2 Corinthians chapter number 10, verses 3 through 5. It says, For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. I want to talk just for a minute this morning about the real battleground, about where the real fighting and the real battles take place in our life, or at least where we should meet the enemy, what battleground we should be meeting the enemy on. We're not fighting as Christians. I'm talking about Christians here. From this perspective, this side of it, that we're not fighting what we can see. So much of the time we say, well, this person's against me and that person's against me and I'm being attacked and all of that. And I know that seems very, very real and seems very, very true. But can I tell you, friends, that the real battleground is not what we can see, and it's certainly not with people. I understand I have probably aggravated the life out of people, and I know it's happened to me, and it's so easy to make it or to feel like it's personal. But friends, I got to tell you that if we are children of God, it's never personal. It's not. It's like almost like not really a business deal, but it is business. It is the business of the church, the business of Christianity. And I probably sounds negative, but what I mean by that is it's not personal. It is the enemy of our soul, Satan himself, warring against the God of all creation. And the players in that are God's children, us, and the children of the enemy, the non-Christians, people who are not in right relationship with Christ. And that is, God uses us, and He fights the enemy through us, not only through us. A lot of times He takes care of problems for us with no human intervention whatsoever. But generally speaking, God uses us, and Satan certainly uses people. And I don't mean by any stretch of the imagination that all the time and every time that Satan, our enemy, uses somebody that they are horrible, evil people or demon-possessed. I don't mean that at all. Most of the time, I think it's probably a case where they're not even aware of it. Something maybe that they said they didn't mean anything by, and our enemy uses that to get to us, uses that to trip us up, uses that to try to offend us or upset us. And then when the person who said it may not have any idea, may not have any ill intent whatsoever, that's why we have to realize. That's why it is of the utmost importance that we realize what the real battleground really is, what the fight actually is. It's not with, and the Bible tells us right here, we do not war after the flesh. It's not flesh and blood. It's not people. It's not humans that we war after. When we keep that in mind, it's a little easier, it's a little simpler to be able to handle it when we realize that's just the enemy. Might not be this person that just did whatever, said whatever, whatever the case may be, not even aware of it. It's the enemy that is fighting me, either through them or just simply using something they said, trying to twist it, trying to upset me, trying to get to me. So when we realize the real battlefield and the real battle is in the spirit, and the real battle is with the enemy, not with people, it makes it so much easier. Now, I didn't say easy, because sometimes it's awfully hard, but easier to deal with people, to accept and to love people, even when something that they have done really, really hurts or upsets us, when we realize it's not them. It's not them. It's the enemy that's fighting my soul. It's the enemy that's trying to destroy me. He's just using something they said or maybe something they did. Friends, so when we realize that the battlefield is of the things that we can't see, it makes it easier to fight, because when we do that, when we realize that where the battlefield is, we realize what our weapons are. And he tells us here that the weapons of our warfare, they're not carnal. They're not things that we possess or things that we have. They're not knowledge, money, political power, personality, talent. These are all tools. These are all things, but that's not what we use. We don't. That's not our choice of weapons. So can I tell you what our choice of weapons is in this in this battle? Is simply prayer. And I mean that. And it's so, we kind of blow that off. We kind of, oh, yeah, I'll pray about it. Or we say, hey, pray for me. Or, hey, I'll be praying about that. Or, I just need to pray more. Friends, I want to tell you, we need to take that serious, because that is our battleground. That is our battlefield, is at the altar. And I don't necessarily just mean a piece of furniture at the front of a church. It could be a couch. For me, most of the time, it's walking, pacing and walking and praying and that, not kneeling at an altar or sitting or laying, although I pray in all those positions as well. It's the point of prayer. It's the point of fighting this in an arena that can't be seen, in an area that can't be defined by natural terms. So let me leave you with this. Let me leave you with this, to me, this incredible thought. Okay? Here we go. A person fighting God's way, the way God intended for us. When we read here in 2 Corinthians that not carnal, it's spiritual weapons. A person fighting God's way will never lose to a person fighting the way of the world. You hear me? A person fighting God's way will never lose to a person fighting in the way of the world. Even when it appears that maybe they got the best of us. They said something and we didn't come back at them, or we didn't have anything to say. I want to tell you something. One of the greatest victories you'll ever win in your entire life is being able to hold your tongue, is being able to be quiet when somebody has attacked you. So while it may look like to those around, maybe even naturally look to yourself, certainly to the other person, but when it may look like you lost the battle, when it may look like you were rendered helpless or defenseless, can I tell you that when you're fighting God's way and you're letting Him fight your battles, as God said to the Old Testament king, you don't do anything. The battle doesn't belong to you, it belongs to me. So can I tell you that it's no different today? The battle belongs to God. So if you'll fight God's way, fight on your knees, whatever position, fight in prayer. Let God do the fighting. You will never lose a battle. When we lose is when we try to do it ourselves. We realize we messed up. We come back. We say, God, I'm sorry. I kind of took that on myself. I did it, and it messes up. So the real battlefield, the real battleground, it's prayer. It's prayer. So let me encourage you with that today. As you go on about your day, your week, as we get on with life, remember, The ones you come across, the people that seem to give it to you the most, not fighting you. It is Satan fighting God. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.